Are we live? Are we live?
Yep.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's Monday morning, and here in California, it's 7 a.m. Rise and shine. It's time to get up and running and start your week. You have found your way to Monday Momentum, which is our weekly hangout. We are here to help you and ourselves get up and running, get a great week going in the right direction. And our goal always is to slide in to home plate on Friday, feeling really good about our week, like we really got something done in the direction we wanted to go and not off course. So we're here to get your momentum started in the right direction. We have some funny background noises, so as soon as we get done with the introductions, which we're going to do in a minute, I will ask my co-facilitators to mute because there's something happening there, and if we can try to do that in between, it usually helps, but I know sometimes it's hard to remember. So we have two people working with me today, and we're spread out all over the country in big ways. As you guys probably recognize, Linda Kay, she's been working with us for, I don't know, a year anyway, is here. And Linda, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, good morning. I'm coming to you from the East Coast, up in New Hampshire, where finally we're starting to get just a little bit of break, and the snow is, like, still there. So, happy Monday. Look forward to the topics here. I love how you say we're going to do all these wonderful things. It's going to take us right in through Friday. And one of these days, after watching Monday Momentum, it's going to happen. So
well, that's the whole point, girl. We'll have a party when it does, I guess. Yeah. And James, will you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're here from.
Good morning. I'm here in St. George, Utah. We are actually probably 80, just about 80 degrees. It was a beautiful day yesterday. Just put up a bunch of Facebook photos on, or some photos up on Facebook of a family for Easter. So it was a nice weekend, very nice weekend, ready for the week. Can you hear me okay?
Back to you, Sarah, on mute. You're on mute.
I think I can unmute her.
Hello, sorry about
Hello.
that. I had a replay going. I don't know if anyone else did, so I was hearing Linda talking about the weather all over again while James was trying to talk about his. I don't know if you guys were hearing that. But it's stopped now, and as you two know, I had an interesting time trying to get online and get this up and running this morning, and I may have had two things open at once. I don't know. If you start hearing replays, I apologize, but right now it seems to just be me, so maybe we fix that problem. So as you can see, we don't have Julia today. Julia's got some really exciting stuff going on with her business, so she's going to be taking a break for a little while. And we miss her. We wish she was here. We hope she'll dive in once in a while and join us. But we will still be having Monday Momentum. It may be a little bit of a shift, especially if I'm running the controls. We did get here on time today, so that's a really, really good start. But James McFadden and Linda Kay, as you probably all know, are both graduates of CEO Space as well as myself, and Julia was too. So we have that one thing in common. And we all three just came back from spending some time there. We've had one of our 5 conferences that we have every year. We just had one a week ago, maybe. I'm already. It was in March, and in the last couple days of March. So what we wanted to talk about is how to go to events like that and make sure that you get your money's worth. Is going to an event something that's a cost or a benefit for your business and for yourself? So, why don't we start out with you, Linda? If you would just talk a minute about what is your favorite strategy for making sure you get your money's worth when you go to an event, and maybe spend a little time talking about the different kinds of events you go to.
That's always interesting. Some people say you go into an event with a mission, that you're going to get 5 leads, or you're going to talk to so many people, and you're going to do all these things. Sometimes, my personal feeling is when you go in there with such an agenda, you don't actually get the opportunity to really absorb everything that's going on around you. Because if you're in there focused on your mission, you're not necessarily receiving what everyone else is putting out there. So a lot of times when I go to an event, I won't go in with that agenda. I will just go in and say, you know, whoever's supposed to talk to me will talk to me. The connections I need to make will happen. For some people that works, for some people it doesn't. I could see where they would think, oh, this is a total waste of time. And you know what? If you're focused on it that way, it will probably happen that way. So as I went to CEO Space, I did not have a mission in mind. I was open to, you know, meeting different people, hearing different opportunities, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I didn't have a mission this time.
So not an agenda always, but an open heart as to what will happen and that will be the perfect thing that needs to happen for me right now. Is that kind of how you sum that up? Yeah. And did it work?
I think it did. I made some very interesting connections. People that I've been talking to for the last 3 years, things are finally starting to bubble up just from conversations. So, yeah, I believe it works.
Okay. And do you go to other events besides CEO Space? And I guess when we say event, what we're talking about for today's call are, you know, going away to a convention, a meeting, something that's 2 or 3 days. It's a cost often, you know, especially if you're traveling. There's airfare, there's hotel, there's meals. All of that investment that we put in and making sure that it pays off for us is sort of what we're trying to get at. So are there other events that you participate in like that, or just CEO Space?
You know, in the past, I would attend a lot of those events. And I found that over the last couple of years, just being able to go back to CEO Space 5 times a year to a known quantity, if you will, knowing that I'm going to get great education, knowing that I'm going to meet fabulous people, knowing that I'm coming home to family, I don't go to a lot of those other meetings anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And James, how about you weigh in on this a little bit? Do you go to other events besides CEO Space?
Yeah, here in Southern Utah, I'm a member of an organization called Corporate Alliance. In fact, it was my association with Corporate Alliance, and we are learn. What do we learn? I can't think of it. We have very similar values that the CEO Space has, and like Linda, often I go looking for unintended opportunities. This last forum, I came with some very, very specific goals in mind, but at the same time left a lot of time open so that I wasn't so busy I missed opportunities.
And how did that work out for you? Were you able to move on it? And if that's you, Nate, if you could mute, because there's noise again. I'll mute too. So James, did you feel like you met those goals that you had?
Absolutely. Met and exceeded them. I think setting goals is really important. I think having an agenda can help you stay on task with a lot of things. But I definitely agree with Linda. There has to be room set aside, or at least available, for opportunities to present. When opportunities present themselves, in fact, I was just thinking about, is it Bruce Ritchie? Is that?
Yeah, Platinum member?
He just passed away this last weekend.
He did?
And he was there, and I had an opportunity to see him, but I got to shake his hand, and we didn't have a whole lot of time to talk. And when I heard about the news from Sandra, it really made me sit back and reflect even more that if we're in such a big hurry that we miss opportunities to connect with people that are important to us, then we need to keep those things in mind. But yeah, he unexpectedly passed away just 2 or 3 days ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's a fellow platinum member with
Yeah.
us here at CEO Space.
Oh, wow. Well, I like what both of you have said about going to events with an open agenda. Maybe some schools, but not, okay, every minute of every day I know exactly what I'm going to do, exactly who I want to meet, exactly what I want to get done. And I think that there's kind of a place for that sometimes, but maybe not so much with CEO Space, or at least for these 3 CEO Space grads who have spent enough time there where it feels like family. It feels like no matter what happens, it's going to be great, so I don't have to worry so much about getting my money's worth out of it, versus how it might feel for somebody the first time they went, or for other events that we might go to. Because I do think there is a value in sort of taking the time to make sure that, okay, I'm spending X dollars to get to this thing, and I want to make sure there's a return on that investment. It doesn't necessarily happen right away. It doesn't necessarily happen money sometimes. It could be other, benefits that you get. But I do think there is room for that a lot of the time. And for me, this particular CEO Space, I actually did take the time to write out exactly what I wanted to happen for me this time. And it was fun to do that, and the shift that happened after I'd gotten through several, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to, and then I just shifted into what a great conference this was, and I was like it was already over with, and I was talking about how great it was afterwards. And when I looked at that at the end, looked at my list after we got home, I thought, okay, well, a lot of these things really did happen, or things very similar. And who knows, but it was the first time I'd ever deliberately sat down and said, these are the things that I want to achieve this time. And these are the people that I want to make sure I meet. And it made me brave, so that when it was time for Jack Canfield to be there, I went up and said, I want my picture taken with you. I'm not usually quite so brave about things like that. But I just felt like, this is my chance. If I don't take it, I may not get another chance, and that's pretty obvious. And yet at the same time, I often let those opportunities get away from me, and I didn't this time, and I think that was why. So what would you advise to someone else who perhaps is investing a chunk of time, chunk of money in a big event, hoping that it's going to propel their business forward, as ways to get ready if it was their first time? And Linda, do you have anything you would like to throw in there?
Well, when you're going to a conference like this for the first time, I don't think you can truly anticipate all that's going to happen. And when you arrive at, a conference like this, and there is just so much going on, stimulus all over the place, connections, people coming out of the woodwork who have something you need, or can help you with something. It's so amazing. And the interesting thing is I spoke with someone who had come in for the first time, and a couple days later she was talking about that letdown, that what happened. I was flying so high at the conference, making all these connections, all these good things happening, and now all of a sudden I'm home again. And it's just so very different. The world has changed. So first-timers just, really need to be aware of those things. But realistically, when you come to a conference like this for the first time, I think it starts your mind in motion that maybe it's not all about getting, it's also about giving.
Mm-hmm. Great. I love that. And you know, what I said earlier about the list that I wrote up this time, I think it actually helped with that let down feeling because I could go back and look at my list and say, okay, you know, I did some of these things that I had wanted to do. Some of these goals were met. Some of these, you know, connections were made, or feelings. I mean, I wasn't writing just about who I want to meet and who I want to connect with, but other things as well. And so it helps with that, oh, it's over, and wait a minute, now what? Feeling that you can get when you come home from an event. So that's another reason that I would encourage to sort of look at it ahead of time, and also look at, you know, what can you do ahead of time to get ready. And, you know, for CEO Space, which seems to be kind of what we're focusing on a lot because we are also familiar with it, to me, hooking up with the person that brought you in, you know, if that's your club president or someone that just referred you, and getting information ahead of time about, you know, the basics, what's it going to be like, but also who would you recommend that I try to meet with and talk to, and those kinds of things, and setting up those appointments so that you really, because you can get swept up in it, and it's fun and it feels good. You know, there's a lot of really great energy and a lot of really nice people, and you do meet people spontaneously that are perfect connections. Yet at the same time, you want to avoid that feeling when you get home of, okay, wait a minute, who was I supposed to meet with? I never got it done. And planning a little bit can help with that. So I want to welcome Nate if he's able to talk. I don't know if he is. He seems sort of frozen there. But if he is, you could unmute and just say hello. If not, well, then we know you're listening, and that's good enough for today. Can you unmute? Nope. Okay. Well, I have a friend, Nate, who is here in Reno and is one of our regular member attendees, and he appeared for a second, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to talk or not, but we'll go on. Hey, James, tell us what you would recommend for somebody going to a big event who is hoping to get great results. What can they do to prepare themselves, and what can they do to be nice to themselves when they get home if they don't feel like they got everything they needed?
One of the thoughts that I had was something that's been really very important to me in this last forum was my 11th forum in a row, my 2-year anniversary, attending CEO Space, and it does not feel like 2 years. It feels like a year maybe. Early on, I didn't have a system in place or an expectation on myself to follow up with a lot of the conversations that I had, and or a way to reach out other than just picking up the phone and saying, hey, we met, you gave me a See Me card, or you gave me your card, and if you wait too long, people are going to forget what it was that sparked that reason for sharing their card. And often when that happens, you actually end up in a situation where that person you're reaching out to thinks that you wanted what they did, and so they start selling you on that, when in reality they may have given you a card or See Me card because quite the opposite, because you had something that they needed. And so there's two things that happen. Basically, if you don't have a process in place to reach out to people when you get back from the conference, if you don't have a system or an expectation of how you're going to reach out to people, you're going to lose opportunities. And also, for me, while I'm at the forum, on a daily basis, when I'm getting cards and See Me cards or information from people, especially if they're new contacts, they're new people that I've met, that night when I get to my room, I make notes on what happened in that conversation. All too often, somebody hands you a card or a See Me card, and it has their name and their number on it, but it doesn't have what inspired them to give you their card, or what their specific need is, or what need I have that they think they can help me with. Mm-hmm. And so recalling that conversation and making notes, and kind of having a journal, if you will, a contact journal, is really the only way I've managed to gain to get that value out of it. And to be honest with you, with 11 forums, it's pretty much been the last 3 forums that I've made that a priority. And so it really boils down to having an expectation or a system in place that you use to prepare before you go, that you use while you're there, and that you use when you get back. This last conference, I probably made at least 7 very, very high-profile, very, very significant connections that are going to lead to opportunities, both financially and on a collaborative level. So, so it's been a process getting to that level.
Mm-hmm. So knowing that it's a process and that it's taken a couple years for you to get one that you feel good about, that I'm assuming you could use at other events if you went to other events, there's a danger, I think, for people who, maybe are picking an event to go to and it's a big deal for them, it's something new they haven't tried before, and maybe they are not going to be able to go for 2 years before they figure out a system that really works for them. And that means that they might give up and say, I've tried that one, it didn't work for me, it wasn't good, it was a waste of money. And that's the thing that we want to really work with people on, if we can. Give them ideas for making sure, if you've decided to do this thing, how can you really set yourself up to feel okay about it afterwards, and what I said earlier about the return on the investment. I mean, one of the goals that I put down is I'm going to make at least X amount of dollars because of this forum. Now, I'm not going to open up my checkbook and show you that I've deposited that money, because I have not. However, it was sort of, it cost me this much to go. I need to find a way to match that, for no other reason than for sustainability. And I think that taking the time to say, well, what would that mean if you needed to earn $2,000 to pay yourself back for the weekend event you went to? What would that mean? Would that mean to new clients? Would that mean selling your book to a new bookstore that could get it out for you? Signing up 5 new members? What would it mean? And how can you plan for that? At least mentally. You may not see it happen instantly, but if you don't go in with that kind of attitude, you may never see it happen at all. And I think there, like I said earlier, is a danger that then you will give up. And
absolutely.
So that's why I kind of, if someone was going for the very first time, to me it's a really good, strong connection with whoever it is that's bringing you into this. And I realize that sometimes people land at an event and they haven't got anybody bringing them in. They don't have anybody that they know there. So what else can they do? And, one of my favorite things that many favorite things, but I think it's really a good idea if you can, if there's a VIP section, for instance, that you sit there, that you get yourself there if you can do it, because all those people that are in that area are going to be people that have invested that much more, are that much more committed to success and to having a successful event, and that's who you want to surround yourself with. Do you guys have any other tips like that? How about Linda? You got one?
Well, I want to go back just for a moment. We were talking about CME cards, and I'm not sure everybody knows what a CME card is. So I just happen to have these on my desk. And the interesting thing is they're not all just for me. A couple of them are for people that I know outside of CEO space, where I recognize someone had a product or a service or something that would be, very helpful to them, and I just need to make that connection. But most of them are for me, yes. So one of the, strategic relationships that I made while at CEO Space this time was under the marketing automation category. I've played with marketing automation in the past. I do some of these services for my clients, but I hooked up with a connection that offered a solution that it just price-wise is absolutely incredible. You know, we've all known the big names in marketing automation in the past, and they're quite pricey for most people, but this one is really reasonable. So I'm so excited.
So you found a really good connection this time for you.
I did, absolutely. Really good long-term strategic relationships.
Good, good. How about sitting or making sure that when you go to an event, if you are flying by yourself and not having anyone sitting near you so that you can meet people on the airplane when you go and on the airplane when you come back? This is another little strategy. I love traveling alone because I always meet really cool people on the plane. It's just another idea. James, do you have one? No more?
Was that directed at me?
Yeah. Well,
you had broken up, and there was a little bit that I didn't catch there.
Oh yeah. Well, we got to wake up.
No.
Yeah, pick somebody that doesn't drive.
Oh, that's right. James drives all the time. I forgot. Yeah, I'm jealous. So you can't meet people on the plane before you. No. How about while you're at the conference? Well, you talked a little bit about following up. Are you able to? I mean, I come home often with lots of connections, but I have a hard time following up with people while I'm still there. Is that something that you've mastered?
You know, there's a few people that say you really should follow up while you're there. If I feel like that's important, then I do that. There were a couple of people that I met and had a chance to meet with 2 or 3 times. One individual three times, and we've been in touch since I've got back. I think the real key is to make that contact make contact one way or another, whether it's a phone call. I like to use send out cards. I send a personal email and ask if they would like to be on my mailing list, if that's okay if I sent them things once in a while. I don't send things out very often, so like on a mass level. So when I do, I want people to actually look at it and open it and feel like there's something of value there for them. Mm-hmm. Making that contact is really vital. I think sometimes we take it for granted. We think, oh, I've met this person, they know me now. I have an incredible memory. When it comes to conversations and people that I meet, I rarely forget anything. But that's not the way a lot of people are. And so I know I take that for granted sometimes, because a lot of times I'll wait too long or a lot of time has passed, and if I reach out to that person, it takes a little bit of reminding and bringing up key words and key points to help them kind of sort of remember that one face in the 150 to 300 that they met with. Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of people from this last forum that this was their first forum that I'm in touch with, that I've been in touch with at least 3 times, where they have some very specific needs, and I've been helping them navigate a few things there. And had I not reached out and said, hey, we met, this is what we talked about, I understand you're doing this, and I just wanted to see if you were able to get your needs resolved, or if you have anything you're working on, and what specific problems are you dealing with right now. When you have that conversation relatively soon after you meet somebody, you have a much greater opportunity to actually build a relationship. So That's always been very, very, very important with me.
Good. Well, thank you. And you know, it sounds to me like we've got some pros here at working an event that we're very comfortable with. I just want to encourage anyone who's watching or joining us today to really make a plan of some sort when you go to an event, when you've begun reaching out in this direction, because I think that you can get better results if you really plan a little bit ahead. Have some goals about what you want to do. You know, if there are people that you know are attending that event that you want to connect with for whatever reason, they're movers and shakers, they're running the event, whatever it is, you know, do a little research about them ahead of time on LinkedIn, find out what you have in common, you know, make an effort to meet them so that you can move yourself forward. Take care of yourself while you're at the event. Plan your day every day, review your day in the evening, the way James was talking about. Who did I meet? How does that help me? Do I want to follow up with them while I'm here? Do I want to do it later? All of those kinds of things. Volunteering, when somebody says, I need a volunteer to come up and do something, you know, do it. That's everybody in the whole joint knows you then. Even if it's only for a second, you are way more famous and much more likely to be able to interact with people in a deeper way when more people know who you are. So those are just some ideas for you. We are pretty much out of time. So what we traditionally do here, James, and you're kind of new this time around, is just do a little closing statement of who you are, what you do, if people want to get in contact with you, and we'll start with James and then go to Linda, and then it'll be my turn.
I'm James, and it just depends on what day it is. In fact, you can see me at itdependsonwhatdayitis.com. I've started to list a lot of the things that I'm doing there. It's a fun little site. I just got it up a few weeks ago. I haven't finished it, but it is there. You can reach out and contact me through that. It depends on whatdayitis.com, and I've been in marketing and promotions and web design for the last 25, 30 years.
Thank you. Linda? You're muted, baby.
Preoccupied, I'm trying to find out with it depends on what day it is. And throw it up there.
What time it is.
Anyway, I am Linda Kay, lindakay.com, and what I am going to do myself is automate my CME cards, so anybody else that's looking to get a follow-up system to leverage all that they learned at this conference or any conference, you know, Linda at lindakay.com. Shoot me an email.
Great, Linda, thank you. And that was my plan for closing us out today, was to say, okay, well, at least 3 of us just came back from a conference, and we've spent a lot of time on this hangout talking about the importance of follow-up. So how are we doing, guys? And if we haven't followed up from the people we met last week, let's have it be a goal that we will do so by next Monday when we have our next broadcast. Because I haven't, you know, I haven't done it yet, I can tell you that. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Sarah Coolidge. If you want to reach me, you can find me at ceospacefast.com. At CEO Space, we take your business where it is right now, and we help you close that gap between there and where you want it to be. We do it faster and quicker, and if you're interested in learning more about that, please contact me. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.